Millie knocking on brother Andrew door in the midnight hour, honey. She knocking. Andrew opened the door. She's like, look, Nina threatened me in my job, and I need my job. He don't know why she need her job. He don't ask her any questions. I need my job, and he consoling her, wiping tears that she doesn't even have. Girl, you know why you came over there in the midnight hour to see this fine man scantily clad?
Welcome to the Margins to Movies podcast, where we talk books, movies, and everything in between. For today's show, we read and watched a book adaptation to answer that age-old burning question: which is better, the book or the movie? We're your hosts, your favorite internet bookworms. I'm Della B.
And I'm Nita Key.
We are gathered here today to discuss Frieda McFadden's The Housemaid. Why don't you go ahead and take it over and let's get a summary of this book.
Well, The Housemaid starts with our girl, Millie. So Millie is at the glorious, wonderful, opulent house of Nina Winchester. She is interviewing to be Nina's housemaid / nanny / errands girl, whatever she needs her to do, right? So she's sitting there in awe of Nina because Nina is wearing all white everything, okay? Nina is giving class, sophistication. She's giving money. She's giving old money. And so Millie is feeling a little bit like, she doesn't know if she's going to get this job because she has a lot of issues. The homegirl is homeless. She is living in her car, but Nina offers Millie a job, and Millie's like, yeah, I can get,
awesome.
you know what I'm saying? I can get off the streets. I can stop showering at rest stops. I can get out the hood. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm moving on up. So she moving on up to the east, honey. Yeah, she engaged in the situation. So she packs all her personal effects, which is not much, like a bag. She goes to the house, and when she goes to the house, she see an Italian stallion, okay, named Enzo. Enzo is the groundskeeper, honey. Yes, they have a groundskeeper, okay? We get that feeling, that vibe, that situation from him to where she needs to turn around and leave because he is telling her Pericola. I'm probably saying that wrong. Please forgive me. He's saying danger. He's saying, Millie, you in danger, girl.
Molly, you in danger, girl.
Okay, but Billy said, I need a job, Enzo. Don't you act like that. So she goes in, and Nina's like, girl, we're so happy you here. You know, she sees her room. Child, the room is a cave, okay? They got homegirl in the attic. This big opulent house with a guest room no one's staying in. Homegirl is in the attic with a window that's stuck closed. Got a little refrigerator with 3 water bottles in it. Got a cot in there. Her phone doesn't even work. I'm like, girl,
that should have been her first sign.
No, Enzo saying you in danger should have been her first sign.
Exactly.
So Enzo saying you in danger, your phone don't have any bars, and then the room locks from the outside.
No, ma'am.
Millie, get your stuff. We got to go. Let's go find you a house.
I was shocked, honey. I was in tears almost. And it had a white refrigerator. I was like, oh, not a white refrigerator. Girl, please put your shoes on. Let's go find you a home, honey.
But she has no choice, okay? Because a homegirl, fresh out of jail, been in jail 10 years, fired from her job. She has no choice, right? So she's letting the house clean up and whatever. And then Mr. Andrew Winchester comes through with the daughter. First of all, in the book, they said that daughter looked like a little ghost. She was very, very pale. She had on her white Victorian outfit, and she was looking scary. She was looking child of the corn, honey. And Millie was like, I gotta take care of this spooky little girl. I don't care what happened to her. I don't want her standing over me at the midnight hour. So then, but Andrew was looking like a zaddy, honey. Andrew. Woo, girl. She said, Andrew, ooh, he looked good. But she was like, no, I can't look at him like that because that is my employer, you know? So basically, it doesn't take her long to find out that Nina is nuts. You know, and there's an incident where Millie said, let me get this child of the corn a little snack after school. And she fixed her some peanut butter. And the child of the corn was like, you're trying to kill me. Like, Millie probably thought she was already half dead the way she looked. But she was like, oh, no, you're trying to unalive me, right? So then Nina come through, and Nina, no, she didn't tell that girl that child has a peanut allergy. She's like, you're trying to unalive my daughter. And Millie like, no, I didn't know she had a peanut allergy. Why y'all have peanut butter in the pantry if the child has a peanut allergy? And this whole time, Nina is putting her through HE double hockey sticks. Andrew is just knight in shining armor. He's there for
Absolutely.
her. He's making her
Absolutely.
feel better. He's
Prince
consoling her
Charming.
situation. Yeah, they're getting closer and closer. And she's like, oh, no, I shouldn't engage. But then it's like, maybe I should. And then Nina keeps doing stuff. Okay. So there's a situation where Millie is downstairs watching the Family Feud with Andrew, and they having a wang dang doodle, honey. And Nina came out. She said, "Girl, I know you not sell this sofa with my fine husband
And them little thin,
scantily clad.
in them little thin pajamas.
Yeah, in the midnight hour. You here with my husband scantily clad. Don't you walk around my house half dressed?" Nina, like, why don't you stay in your attic? Why are you down here trying to fellowship with the family? Stay in your attic, girl. I don't know how many warnings Millie needs to get her stuff and go, okay? Because at one point, I was like, jail has to be better than this. But anyway, we have a situation where
Jail has to be better.
Yeah. Girl,
Okay.
look, let me tell you, girl. So Nina, no, in the book, Andrew arranged for him and Nina to go to see a Broadway show and to have a lovely night out in New York.
Right.
But Nina asked Millie to schedule it during the time where Nina couldn't go because she had to take her little child at the corner to summer camp to go terrorize the other children. So come to find out, while she gone, Andrew is like, you know what? I couldn't get a refund. Take this ticket. Take somebody. Take your friend. Take your man and go watch it. And Millie's like, well, you know, Andrew, I don't have anyone to go with. And Andrew's like, well, you know what? I'm going to save the day. I'm going to go with you. So they went to go see the Broadway show. Millie put on some clothes that Nina gave her, some of her clothes. She had a little skin tight dress she got from Nina. She put that little skin tight dress on and she went, and Andrew was ooh-wee. And so they was watching the Broadway show and they went out to dinner and he was staying the woolly lee and wee at the French restaurant. And girl, she was thoroughly impressed with the situation. So they get back in their car. He look at them thighs, honey. He start wanting to caress the thighs. Next thing you know, they kissing. Next thing you know, they at the hotel and they doing what they weren't supposed to be doing. They engaging down to the hotel, honey. Yeah, girl, they was engaging. And so then after that, they came back. Nina comes back. Nina has a sneaking suspicion that something's going on with them. And so she drops the bomb in front of Andrew. She was like, girl, where you learn how to cook like this, Millie? When you was in jail? When you was in the prison? Millie said, I know she didn't say that in front of Andrew. Andrew was looking like, child, you was in jail? So, honey, so she talked to Andrew. She like, look here, Andrew, that's not, didn't even tell him what happened, honey. Andrew knows so open. He didn't even ask her what she was in jail for. He was just like, you know what? You looking like the one. They want to engage with each other further.
Right.
So Nina is about sick of their mess, right? And so what she does is she says, I'm gonna call the police and get you for these clothes you stole. Andrew was like, wait a minute. She did not take those clothes, and I'm sick of your mess, okay? This my woman. I'm about to be with this woman. You got to go, honey. And Nina was like, what? You putting me out? Your wife? Your wife? Okay,
Right.
and this is the story of how the maid became the mistress of the house. So her, Andrew, frolicking. She could be scantily clad all she want. He can run up behind her, touch thighs all he want, honey, because Nina is gone. She out the picture. And so one day, Millie is chilling. She's reading some of Andrew's book. He comes home. She says, you know what? It's time for me to move out of this attic. It's time for me to move on down to that luxurious bedroom, okay?
Right.
Because Nina is gone. So he's like, oh, okay, let's go get your stuff. He go up to the attic to get her stuff, okay? While he up there, they engaging in what people do, okay? In the midnight hour. Baby, she woke up, Andrew gone. She go to the door is locked, okay? Locked. She said, Andrew, sir, she knocking on the door. That's her. She knocking on the door. Hey, yes, how can I help you? Andrew, can you open the door so I can get out? Andrew's like, oh, I'm gonna open the door, but not yet.
Oh,
Dun,
Lord.
dun,
Dun, dun,
dun.
dun. Oh,
Meanwhile, back in the Batcave, what was Nina doing?
Okay, so a little background on Nina. Nina was in college. She was going to school for a PhD and ended up getting pregnant on a one-night drunken stand. and had to get a crappy job so she could pay for her bills and stuff because now she had a baby that she had to raise. And one day while she was at work, she was filling up because, she was nursing her child. And they called her into the room to bring some papers or something. And she walked in there. And of course, she was leaking everywhere. She was so embarrassed and, went to the bathroom and cleaned herself up. But then Andrew came out again, Mr. Prince Charming, and he felt bad for her and wanted to take her to dinner and everything. And so first she was a little bit apprehensive, but then she went ahead and went to lunch with him. And then the next thing you know, they went to dinner together. 6 months later, he proposed to her and she just couldn't believe it. Oh my God, how did I meet this Prince Charming? This is amazing. I cannot believe this. So they got married, had this wonderful wedding and everything. So then he moves Nina into his house. So she didn't know a lot of things about Andrew, but it sure came to light once she became his wife. So she moves into the house and he makes comments about her hair needing a touch up. You can see her roots. And she says, okay, well, I'll make an appointment to go and get my roots touched up tomorrow at the hair salon. Well, what happens is she ends up missing her appointment. And so then Andrew comes home and he looks at her and he's like, okay, wait a minute, what's going on here? Why I'm still seeing these roots? And her mind is like, okay, I missed my appointment. I'll make another appointment for tomorrow. He says, okay, well, you know what? I got some papers up in the attic that I need you to help me get. So can you come up to the attic with me and help me get them? She says, oh, sure, honey, I'll go up here and I'll help you with these papers. So she goes up to the attic and she walks into the room and she looks around and she's like, I don't see any papers. And then all of a sudden, slam, she hears that attic door turn. This same
Oh, this
attic
the door.
door that you cannot open from the inside, it can only open from the outside. So she starts knocking on the door. Andrew, what's going on? There's no papers in here. What's going on? Needless to say, this was the beginning of us finding out who the real Andrew was. So she's knocking on the door, and he's like, oh, I'm going to let you out, but not yet. And so then he asked Nina to pull 100 strands of her hair from the root, and the follicles had to be showing, and she had to put them in an envelope and give it to him before he would let her out. And she's like, "Are you crazy? What are you talking about?" So first she bought it, and she was like, "This makes no sense. Is this a joke or something?"
Hey,
So
stop
finally,
playing.
she realized after he didn't let her out right away, she realized, no, he's not joking. So she
Yeah.
sat there and painfully pulled out all those strands of hair, 100 of them, put them in an
By
envelope.
the phone.
Yep, by the follicle, slipped them in that envelope, put it underneath the door. So then Andrew comes up and he says, Nina, you had one where I couldn't see the follicle. You have to start all over again. She's like, what? So she had to do it again. And this time, again, it was even more painful, but she did finally get all 100 of them where he could see the follicle. So he let her out. And she thought, oh my God, this man is evil. So she was plotting to leave him. And he gave her some water when she got out, which there was drugs in the water. So she drank the water and it pretty much knocked her out. Well, then when she woke up, she heard water running in the bathroom. And she's like, what is going on? So she basically crawled to the bathroom, groggy and barely can move. And she realized her baby was in the bathtub about to drown. So she starts
This was
trying to get to
before
the
she was
baby,
a
but she
child of
could,
the corn.
barely the child of the corn, but she could barely get to her. And all of a sudden, at the same time, the police run in and, oh my God, we got here just in time. She was about to drown her baby. So Andrew, of course, had set all this up. And so then she ended up going to a psychiatric hospital for the next 6 or 9 months. I can't
Yeah,
remember for
it was
sure, but it was
extended
a
period
long
of time
time.
before.
And
Yeah.
so then, but the whole time, Andrew, he's got his mom taking care of her daughter. So he's setting everything up so that it won't be easy for Nina to walk away when she gets out of the psychiatric hospital. So she
Exactly.
finally gets out and she decides, okay, well, I'm just going to try and see if I can live with it. And she was sitting there talking to Andrew, and she said, you know what? My doctor said I should go back up to that attic because everything that I thought was happening was just make believe. It wasn't for real. And so first she just like, I don't want to do it. And then Andrew was like, well, maybe you should. She goes up to the room and she stands there and she finally opens the door. And of course, what happens? Andrew locks her in the
Boom.
room again. Girl, girl. And so then that's when she
Andrew
realized,
was
okay,
a
I am not
fool.
crazy. Yeah, I am not
Yeah,
crazy. I
and he was the
knew,
one need to be in the hospital.
girl, please, you got that right. So then that's when she finally realized I am not crazy. Then she tried to escape. Her and Enzo came up with a plan to get her a new passport, and Andrew found out about it. Of course, where'd she go? Back up to that attic, more punishment. So she tried to escape, and then she realized I can't escape, and even if I did, he'll take my daughter. So finally, she decides I'm gonna find somebody to replace me. So then
And that
that's
is
when Millie comes into the picture. And that's when she meets Millie. And what happened is when Millie came to the interview, as Nita was telling us about earlier, she just interviewed her. But when she did the background check, she found out that Millie had been in prison. And then she hired a private investigator to find out more about Millie's background and found out more stuff about Millie. So that's pretty much Nina's story. So, in other words, this whole thing with Nina coming to the house and being the housemaid was set up by Nina.
with Millie coming to the house and being the housemaid, all of that was set up by Nina.
All of that was set up by Nina. That is
Yeah.
so everything worked out in her favor to get her to come to the house.
Yeah, so it was
So,
a plan that Nina set up to come
yeah,
to Millie
yeah,
with the foolishness.
Could have been a scheme that Todd set up for him to come to you with the booze.
Okay,
yes.
so we have a situation in the book where the point of view is shifting back and forth. It starts with Millie, then goes to Nina, and comes back with Millie. Now, at this point, Millie is finally starting to realize that Andrew is not who she thought he was, right?
Mhm.
Andrew tells her, girl, you got my books out, just laying out, and you don't have any care for my belongings, my personal effects. So what you're going to do is you're going to put those books on your body, and you're going to hold them there for
Crazy.
3 hours. So she was like, boy, stop
Why?
playing.
Right.
He was not playing. He says, you have to be punished. You need consequences. You need to learn how to act or whatever. So she said, okay. So she did it. The first time he said it wasn't right because she
Yeah, he
came up
said
a
she was
minute early.
yeah, he said she had stopped
Yeah,
1
the
minute
first time she
early.
came up a minute early because she was watching that clock. And then she did it again. So he was like, okay, she did it again. So he came in there, was, baby, I just, you
Yeah.
gotta
Oh,
act
and by
right.
the
I gotta
way
train you like a dog. You know
right,
what I'm
and by the
saying?
way, he could see he had a camera in that
Yes,
room,
he
so
had a
he could
camera in there.
see
He
what
could
was
see.
going on.
Exactly. So he's like, I gotta train you like a dog. You gotta understand, just act right. Everything will be all right. And she's like, oh, okay, all right. So she had found some, unbeknownst to him, she found some mace that Nina had left in there from a time when he told Nina to mace herself. Baby, she took out
Crazy.
that mace, she sprayed him, she jetted up out that room, and Nina had given her the key previously. Okay,
Mhm.
because she asked for a key to the room. That's one thing
Right.
she did right.
Right.
So she locked him in that room. He was like, girl, you better stop playing. You better get me out this room. She said, I will. Not yet, though.
Not
Right?
yet. The
So
tables
she
have been
kept him
turned.
in
Not
that
yet.
room, honey.
Yep.
She went and got some pliers. And she gave him those pliers. She said, you know what? You can come out. But first, you're going to have to pull a tooth. He was like, I'm not pulling a tooth. She said, yes, you are. You're going to come out this room. You're going to pull a tooth.
Mhm.
So she walking away from the door, looking up, how long can someone survive without water? Because he didn't
Yeah.
have water in there, right?
Yeah, cuz
So
she
she
had
like, well,
drunk it.
you should plan that better.
Yep.
Okay, because anybody worry about you having water.
Yep.
Child, lo and behold and lo, we
Yeah.
have Nina, who had been plotting some things with Enzo because he knew about this the whole time.
Yep.
Enzo was making Nina feel bad. You're switching
Yeah.
out with Millie and putting her in
Yeah.
a bad situation and leaving her there. That's not
Yeah.
right. You know what I'm
That's not
saying? That's
right.
not what you're supposed to do. That's
Yeah.
not the right thing to do. So Nina felt convicted. She went back to the house to check on Millie. She goes up to the attic, open the door. Child, what does she see but Andrew unalived? I'm sorry. Unalived on the floor with 4 teeth missing.
On live on the floor. Yep.
Girl with 4 missing teeth. When I tell you Millie was not the one.
With 4
Millie had,
missing teeth.
Millie had that man pull 4 teeth and still didn't let him out.
Oh,
Okay,
but
so
did you tell about what she also had him do even before the teeth? She had him put those books on his privates, on his
yeah, she
lower
did.
extremities.
Yes, you're right. She did. She had him
My
put
God.
put the book strategically so, and then she started telling him to pull teeth. So anyway, Nina comes and she's like, "Girl, oh my, you unalive them," which was her plan all the time. Like, come on now.
Right.
So
Right.
then they had to come up with a scheme. So Nina told Millie to leave, and
Right.
then the police came.
Mhm.
Fortunately for Nina, the police officer was the father of Andrew's previous fiance, Kathleen, who
Kathleen.
mysteriously had broken up with him. So he said that he basically knew how Andrew was, and he made the situation happen to where there was no investigation into her. They bought the story that he locked himself in there, and then they went to the funeral, and Andrew's mom, who gives Crypt Keeper, she was like, you know what? I heard he had 4 missing teeth, but I'm glad you taught him a lesson, right?
Yep.
So at the end, we
Crazy.
have Nina with her daughter, who's no longer a child of the corn, pleasant child. It was the mother-in-law, Andrew's mama, who was making her dress like a Victorian handmaid,
Yeah.
and she was acting weird and crazy because she was in a weird and crazy situation, right?
Yeah.
But she wasn't a bad kid.
Right.
Anyway, Nina and her daughter, Cecilia, they go to California. Millie stays there and gets a referral from Nina for another wife, and she wants to hire Millie as her housemaid. And
The
she has
housemaid.
some bruises and some knives, and she wants to know if Millie can help her out with her husband's situation. And Millie said, I got you.
Said,
And
I
that
got
was how it ended. Yeah.
Okay. So for me, the one thing that I didn't like was when she did have Andrew, and I know Andrew was cruel, but I didn't like when she had Andrew in the attic and first she had him put those books on his extremities. I thought that had to be extremely painful. And then to make him pull all those teeth out, I thought that was, to me, that was more painful than Nina pulling out her hair or Millie had to put the books on her stomach, you know. Yeah, so I thought that was I didn't really like that part, but I
But you
mean, I
know,
guess they
in the
were.
movie,
Oh, yeah?
I don't think he pulled out 4 teeth, did he?
No, one tooth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
but
pulled
I
out
didn't
1
really
tooth
like
in the
that.
movie. And then the movie was a little more gruesome though, because in the movie he had her cut herself 21
It
times when she
was.
broke the family heirlooms.
It was.
So they made it a little more gruesome in the movie, but yeah. Okay, so that was a dislike for you. All right, so for me, I like the plot twist. I like the different perspectives, how we get Millie's perspective, I'm sorry, and then Nina's perspective, and then it goes back and forth. I really like that. I like the whole storyline about the victim turning into like the villain, right? Because
Right.
Millie in the
I
beginning, she
know.
in the warning from Enzo, like, girl, don't go in there. It's like
I
she's gonna be a
know.
little lamb led to slaughter. Lo and behold, okay, Millie was the one that Andrew didn't want to see. Okay.
Right.
But of course, that was Nina's plan. She knew that Millie went to jail for
Right.
unaliving someone. She
Mhm.
knew what Millie was. She knew Millie wasn't going to put up with his foolishness, and Millie did not. Millie came in and she took care of business, and now she has a new career taking care of business.
Absolutely.
Right? So I did like that victim turns the
Yeah.
villain, victor type
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
Now, what I did not like, I did not think, because I read The Boyfriend by Frieda McFadden.
Mhm.
Love The Boyfriend. Boyfriend,
Mhm.
great book. Okay. This I rated almost a 5.
Mhm. So
Like maybe
good.
a 4.8 or something like that, but it's like a
So
5.
good.
That was me being nitpicky. This was
So
I
good.
have never
Yeah.
yelled at a protagonist as much in my life.
Girl, we got to bring him the Boyfriend
I
another time.
wore this protagonist out. Do you hear
Yeah.
me? I have
That was so
never
good.
talked to a book so much.
So
So
good.
then our book club read that. Yeah. And so then I felt like this book was not as suspenseful, because when Andrew came out Mr. Perfect, I was like, no, he ain't Mr. Perfect. I felt like Andrew was too perfect and Nina was too crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it has to be something about him. Okay, he's probably going to be the villain because he's too perfect. And Nina is too crazy. I'm sure she's going to figure something out to explain Nina's behavior. And Nina was acting the way she was acting on purpose because she was trying to drive Millie into Andrew's arms so that
yeah.
Andrew would leave her.
Right. Right.
So there was a reason for
Right.
Millie acting the way she was acting.
I think for me, I liked for me, The Housemaid was the very first book that I read by Frieda McFadden. And I loved it. I loved because at that point I didn't know that she was gonna have a flip like that. I kinda thought Andrew was a little bit too perfect. I was kinda questioning that, especially when Enzo kept warning her. I kept thinking, "Something is up with Andrew. Something is up in Andrew," but I had no idea that Nina was the one setting it all up. So with it being my very first book, I love the way she kept that. You had no clue, because when I got to that part where it switched to Nina, I was like, "What?" So it really kinda surprised me, but I did suspect something with Andrew.
Okay, so are you ready to rate the book?
Yep, I'm ready.
So I am going, you want me to go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay, so I'm rating it a TBR. Okay, so I would put it on the list to be read,
Mhm.
but you read it when you get to it.
Yeah.
Della, what about you?
So that's about a 3 out of a 5. So
Yeah.
I gave it a must read, especially if you have never read anything by Frieda McFadden. And even
Yeah.
if you have, I
Read it.
would say definitely read it. It's because then the good thing about The Housemaid is there are 2 or 3 more books that follow The Housemaid once this book is over. So you got to read this one first. So you see how it's all set up, and then you can read the next one, and then the next one after that. So
It is a
I would
series.
give it a must read, which is about a 4 out of a 5.
Great. So the movie The Housemaid, let's compare and contrast a little bit. One thing I do like about the movie is I felt like the adaptation was very true to the book.
Yeah,
There wasn't really anything where I was like, "Oh,
absolutely.
that's so different." That throws
Absolutely.
me. Like, what were they thinking? I mean, from the
Absolutely.
moment the movie started, it was pretty much the same opening scene as there was in the book.
Absolutely.
I felt like they did a really good job of staying true to the book.
Right.
A lot of similarities. So,
Right.
some differences that I noticed in that pivotal scene where Andrew puts Nina out. In the book, he puts her out, and then Millie's like, "You want me to help you pack?" She goes and packs and she leaves. In the movie, Nina slapped, honey,
Yeah.
she slapped Millie
Yeah.
on her way out the door. She pimp slapped her, okay, before she left. What'd you think about that change? I liked it.
I thought that was a good change because if some housemaid telling you, "Oh, you want me to help you pack your bags?" Oh,
Yeah.
well, wait a minute, who you talking to?
Who you talking to?
Yeah, you might be his little mistress right now, but I was the wife. I'm still the wife. You don't talk to me
Exactly.
like that. So I agree with that. I thought that was a good change.
All right. Another thing I noticed was that in the book, when Andrew and Millie went to see the Broadway show, when they went to the
Uh-huh.
French restaurant,
Right.
and they started kind of making out in the car, and
Right.
that's when the infidelity started to happen. But
Right.
in the movie, they went to the hotel, they went to 2 separate rooms.
Yep.
Millie is getting all these crazy text messages from Nina telling her she about to lose her job.
Right.
So here come Millie knocking on brother Andrew door in the midnight hour, honey. She knocking. Andrew opened the door. She's like, look, Nina's threatening me and my job, and I need my job. He don't know why she need her job. He don't ask her any questions. I need
Right.
my job, and he consoling her, wiping tears that she doesn't even have. Girl, you know why you came over there in the midnight hour to
Right.
see this fine man
Right.
scantily clad?
Right.
Okay, so I'm like, girl, come on now. But she used what she had to get what she wanted, girl.
Yeah. For me, first of all, I loved Brandon's, I don't know how you pronounce his last name, Silinar, I'm not sure. Who
Brandon
played
Esther.
Andrew. I saw him in Yellowstone 1923. Oh my God, he was amazing. And then I also saw him in It Ends With Us, Colleen Hoover movie that they made from the book as well. So I really liked him. Man, I tell you, when they picked him, that was a good pick.
You
Brother
like
is
that?
fine, look good. I was like, what? Especially when in his fresh clothes and he's
Okay.
standing up at that sink. I was
You
like,
know what? If I had to choose, I'd take a Enzo, honey.
my
Enzo
God.
did it for me,
Enzo was
honey.
good too, but when
Mhm.
Andrew was standing up there at that sink, I was like, "Oh my God." But he did good. But the couple of things that I noticed were different was, first of all, the showdown play. In the book, it was Andrew who was trying to get it for Nina because of when she
Oh,
found
yeah.
out, which was a
Yeah.
whole setup too, when she found out she couldn't get pregnant. And we didn't even talk about that, but that was Nina's plan as well. She actually had planned that. So she was on an IUD or something like that. He didn't
Mhm.
even know it. But in the movie, Nina was planning the showdown for Andrew. So that was one difference. And then also Nina had somebody made a call that Millie was stealing, but
Mhm.
in the movie, it was the
Mhm.
car that was stolen. So
Exactly.
Nina had suggested that Millie take her car to the store because she said neighbors was kind of talking about her little raggedy car that she had. So Nina
Girl.
suggested that Millie take it. Yeah, her little Honda. I was like, no, about that
You
Honda.
talked to that girl crazy. Let me tell
She
you.
did. She did.
She talked to her
The
like a dog.
of course, Prince Charming shows up and
Mhm.
he clears everything up with the police. So that's when Millie goes home with him. So that was the difference in the fact that it was the car that was reported stolen.
And you know what? I think that was a good change. I
I
like
agree with
that.
you on that.
I think that her trying to get her arrested for stealing the car she gave her. I think that explains Andrew getting fed up and putting her out, because I think
Absolutely.
the thing with the clothes in the book where she was going to accuse her of stealing her clothes, like,
Right.
yeah, that was bad, I guess, if he really wanted to be with Millie. But I
Right.
felt like the car, Millie, sitting in the back of the police car, about to get arrested and telling the police that she stole her car, like,
Right.
that could explain why someone would be like, you tripping. I'm
Absolutely.
done with you. Yeah.
Right. The other thing that was different was in the book, remember, Andrew first got mad at Millie when she left the books on the table that she had been reading.
Yeah.
Well, in the movie, he got mad at Millie because Millie, after they had engaged in their nighttime activity, she got up the next
The
morning
midnight
and
owl.
she was trying to make him a nice little breakfast. And she had it all on a tray. And when she turned around and saw Enzo standing at the door, and it scared her. So she dropped the tray and she
Mhm.
broke the china that
Mhm.
Andrew's mother was saying, "Oh, this is an heirloom and it's so beautiful, blah blah blah."
Mhm.
So Andrew got upset that she had broke the china, and then he said, "Oh, don't worry about it." So she got it and put it in a baggie, but she didn't wash it because it was broken. And so he
Yeah.
didn't like the fact that number one, it was broken in 21 pieces, and then number two, she didn't wash it. So that was
Yeah.
different from the book, where in the book he was just mad that she didn't put the books up that she had left on the table that she had been reading.
Yeah, and that's when he fired Enzo as well in the movie, and he also fired Enzo in the book too. He's like, he
Yeah, he
lurking
did.
around, he not doing anything, he
He
not
did.
landscaping or groundskeeping. So I thought that was a good change. I feel like the family heirlooms being broken raised the stakes
Yeah, I
higher
agree.
than just leaving some books out. And I
I
also feel
agree.
like him
I
him
agree.
having her cut herself would kind of explain more why she was like, I'm not, this
Yeah,
is too far. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And then also another change is that in the book, Nina comes and she finds Andrew unalived in the attic with the Fort
yes.
Mrs. Heat,
This
excuse
was
me.
the best change to me.
Yeah,
This was
and
the
then
best
in the
change.
movie, the best change to me was how they ended it. When
Yes.
Nina came late at night, Nina, why are you coming over late at night? She
Mhm.
thinking Millie is in the attic. She opened the door. She let Andrew out, honey. Andrew, like, I'm gonna get you, my pretty.
Yep.
Right. And so,
Yeah.
but it leads to a scene where Nina opened the door. Okay, Andrew comes out. So now there's a fight scene between Millie and with Andrew, and then there's a scene between Andrew and Nina where they kind of
Yep.
talk about their marriage, and
Yep.
then it builds up to him trying to kill Nina, which
Yep.
caused him to lose his situation, his
Yeah,
life,
yeah.
right? And so I felt like there was way more action, and
Yeah,
I
I
love that
agree.
they made that change. Those were good changes.
I absolutely agree with you on that. That was a very good change. Because like you said, it kinda dropped off in the book when that was just it when he was in the attic, but this made it a little bit more action. So I like that change
Exactly.
as well. That's
And
correct.
also in the movie, I feel like they did a good job of using that dollhouse to kind of foreshadow
Yes.
things that were gonna
Absolutely.
happen later in the story. Millie told Cecilia, "Don't go in the attic," because she took her troll. She said, "Don't go in the attic," and Cecilia told her, "You need to stay out the attic too."
Right.
At that point, honey, Millie's so desperate for a job, she just
Right.
ignoring all these red flags. It was
Right.
100,000,000 red flags.
Right.
So those were some changes. And then the other one to me that's a major change, and I want to hear if you think this was a good change or not. So in the book, Nina and Enzo, they didn't have an
Oh,
affair.
yes.
But
Yes.
after Andrew kicked Nina out, Enzo came over to see her, and we see
Yes.
that they had been kind of working together because Enzo had a sister who was
Yes.
unalive due to a partner due to domestic violence. So
Yes,
he
and
was really
he had
invested
her
in
name
helping her.
tattooed on his arm,
Yeah, and
Antonia.
so he actually told Nina he had been interested in her, and everybody was trying to get with Enzo, honey. The whole neighborhood was like, "Oh,
Sure
come do
were,
my
girl.
go do my yard, Enzo. Do my yard, Enzo." I'm like, let me call Enzo, honey. Enzo, come do my yard, okay? But anyway, y'all, in all seriousness, okay? So he came over and they got it popping, okay? So
Yeah.
after Andrew put Nina out, her and Enzo got it popping. It was kind of a little like, okay, are they gonna try to make it happen or not? Yeah,
So
so
I
I thought
just
that was a major change. What did you
I
think? Did
agree.
you think that was do
Oh,
you
I
think
thought
they should
that was
have
a
brought
really
that
good ch
in the movie?
Oh, no, I liked it better
Mm,
in the movie that they didn't bring that out. I didn't think they needed to. I thought the movie was suspenseful enough and it had enough action. The changes that they made were not too much to take it away from the book, but it just
mhm.
gave it a little bit more action, a little bit more excitement. Now, I can say Enzo is in the next Housemaid book, and I'm not gonna tell you
Yeah.
how, but he is in the next book.
Oh, you holding out. You didn't tell me you went ahead and read the next book.
I'm holding out. I think I read the next 2, so I would highly suggest you reading,
Oh,
but Enzo is in the next book as well.
okay. All
All
right.
right.
So that's good to know. So do you holding out? Anyway, and then I'm gonna pick her brain for information about those sequels, see if I should read them.
I ain't telling.
All right.
I'm not
So
telling.
overall, the movie, they made smart changes.
Absolutely.
They definitely made it more cinematic. The only dislike I have for the movie is the same dislike I have for the book. I feel like things were kind of wrapped up in a bow a little bit.
Yeah,
And then we
well,
have this situation. Yeah, because everybody's like, okay, Andrew dead,
yeah,
honey.
he did.
But you gotta
Yeah,
remember, Andrew
yeah.
was a pillar of the community.
And he was
Everyone's like, he's
rich.
awesome. He's a saint.
Yeah,
He's
and he was
rich.
rich. I agree.
He's handsome. It's all these reasons why people would be concerned if he end up locked in the attic and deceased. You
Yeah,
know
that
what I'm
sheriff
saying?
couldn't hide all of that. I agree with you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I felt like it was wrapped up a little bit too much in a bow.
Right.
That was my major dislike. But I felt like they did make some really smart changes. They added more action. I thought there was more chemistry
I agree.
between Millie and Andrew, and that was good. So, are you ready to rate the movie?
I'm ready.
Okay.
So I'll go first this time.
Mhm.
So I would give it about a 4 out of a 5, which is a go big. I would have a big popcorn and a large drink and sit down and enjoy the movie.
You know what? I agree with you. I would give it a go big too. I thought it was a good movie.
Yes.
I was entertained from beginning to end. I feel like they
Yes.
had some great
Absolutely.
material to work with from the book with the plot twists and everything. And yeah, I thought they did it justice.
And then they had good actresses, and we didn't even mention
Mhm.
Sydney Sweeney, as who
Mhm.
played Millie. She
Yeah.
also was in a good Netflix movie called Anyone But You. She was so good in that.
Oh, was that good?
It
I
was
didn't
very
see
good.
that. I need
It
to
was
check it
very
out.
good. Yeah, so they had
Okay.
good actors as well, and I think that's another part of the reason why I made it go big.
Yeah, yeah. I think the actors did a really good job. I thought Amanda Seyfried,
Yep,
very good Nina. She
absolutely.
captured that chaotic, nutty
Absolutely.
messiness, love to hate type character. You
Mm.
root for her at the end. You want her to do well. And then you notice how that hair, because she was letting that roots grow out and grow out, grow out. Because Andrew was falling for her plan, the scheme that she set up.
Yep,
So you could see her just converting back into the woman she wanted to be before him.
absolutely. I didn't even
You
think
know what
of
I'm
it like that.
saying? Yeah, and even in the
I
movie,
like
she had
that.
more of her hair growing out. She was reclaiming herself and
Yeah,
reclaiming her time, reclaiming her daughter, reclaiming her life.
yeah,
And I really like how they showed that moral conflict of her setting Millie up and
yes,
then Enzo and her moral compass, like, but
yes,
you're leaving her in the same situation. And even though she
yes.
felt like Millie was strong enough to survive it, is it right? So I'm really glad that Nina went back to check on Millie.
Me too. Me
It
too.
makes me
I
root for
agree.
her even more at the end. Can I say one more thing I forgot to say?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Um, was it just me or in the movie there was a friend who looked like she could have been an actress on White Chicks?
Mm, I don't
You
know.
didn't notice that friend that was giving Casper?
That was what?
Giving Casper,
Uh-uh.
the friendly ghost.
I
In the movie?
I didn't notice it. I didn't notice it. I did not.
I said, she came over from White Chicks? Okay, so let's do the final recommendation. I'm ready.
So you gonna read it, watch it, or both?
I'm gonna recommend both.
Okay.
Read the book. The book was really interesting, especially if you haven't read a lot of Frieda McFadden's books. It's
Right.
a good place to start. Because I read The Boyfriend and I loved it so much, and I felt like by The Boyfriend, her writing was stronger. It
Man.
evolved more. It was easier for me to pick out, the villains
Yeah.
and all that in The
Yeah.
Housemaid. But if you haven't read, I would say start with The Housemaid, and her writing gets better.
Yes. Yes, I
Okay, how
agree.
about your final
I
recommendation?
would I would say the same. Definitely read the book, especially because again, there are follow-ups to the first Housemaid.
It's a sequel.
And then also I would say definitely watch the movie because it was a good movie. It was entertaining. So good
Okay.
job, Frieda McFadden, and good job on the producers and the directors for bringing it to life because they did a very good rendition of it. They didn't change too much away from the books. That made me enjoy it even more.
Okay, very good. So that's all we have for you for today's show. We hope you enjoyed it. follow us wherever you stream podcasts. If you're watching us on YouTube, please like the video. Please hype the video up. Comment. We would love to talk to our community of our people in our corner of the internet. Also, share the video and subscribe.
Absolutely. All right. And until next time,
we'll meet you between the margins and the movies.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye.